Alright, so let's talk about duelists in Marvel Rivals, the true stars of every match. These are the characters who jump straight into the chaos, rack up eliminations, and pretty much decide whether your team wins or loses. If you've ever found yourself thinking, I just need one good carry to turn this game around, well, that's exactly what a great duelist does. They're the ones with flashy plays, clutch moments, and all the pressure on their shoulders to deliver. In this video, we're breaking down the best duelists in Marvel Rivals Season 4.5, from absolute meta monsters to the ones that might need a little more love. Whether you're trying to climb ranked or just want to dominate your next match, knowing which duelists stand out in the current meta is a huge advantage. So let's dive in and find out who's really worth locking in this season. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking duelists in Marvel Rivals. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The duelists in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Black Widow. You know that feeling when you pick a character thinking you're about to pop off by, and then you realize you've basically signed up for a one-way trip to the respawn screen? Yeah, that's kind of the vibe with our C-tier duelists. These heroes can work, but only if the stars align, your team comp is perfect, and maybe you've sacrificed a few snacks to the gaming gods beforehand. Let's start with Black Widow. She's a classic example of a high-risk, low-reward pick. Sure, in the right hands, she can be an absolute nightmare to deal with. A skilled Widow player who knows her positioning can delete squishies before they even blink. But let's be real, that's like one player out of 100. For everyone else, she's more like a walking free elimination for the enemy team. She has almost no solid escape tools, and once someone jumps her, it's game over. Unless your entire team is built around protecting a sniper, or you're a mechanical god, you might want to leave this one in the locker. In short, these C-tier duelists are like those friends who only show up when the plan involves something super specific, like laser tag at 2 a.m. They shine in the right moment, but in the chaos of most matches, they just can't keep up. So unless your team composition really screams for that perfect setup, it's probably better to pick someone a little more reliable. The duelists in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Blade, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, Spider-Man, Squirrel Girl, and Storm. You ever pick a duelist thinking, alright, this is the one, and then halfway through the match you're just regretting every decision that led you there? Yeah, that's basically the story of our B-tier duelists. These characters look flashy, and under the right conditions, they can totally pop off, but they're just not as consistent as the top dogs. You need the right map, the right team, and a little bit of luck to really make them work. Let's kick things off with Blade. On paper, he's everything you'd want from a duelist. Fast, aggressive, stylish, and capable of slicing enemies before they even know what happened. When played fearlessly, he can feel unstoppable. But the problem is, his ultimate ability feels more like a situational party trick than a real game changer. It only works well in tight corridors or alleyways, which limits how often you can make big plays. Compared to the flexibility of other duelists, Blade's kit just doesn't have the same oomph in open fights. Now, Mr. Fantastic. This guy is a bit of a mystery. He's not bad, but he's not exactly fantastic either. Pun absolutely intended. He feels more like a backup tank than a true duelist, soaking up hits while trying to deal decent damage. His elasticity gives him some creative options in fights, sure, but his damage per second just can't keep up with others in this role. And his ultimate? It's fine until you realize it can be dodged or countered with minimal effort. So unless you've built your team to make him work, he often ends up feeling like a filler pick rather than a carry. Namor, on the other hand, is going through his post-Hulk breakup era, and let's just say it hasn't been easy. Back when he was teamed up with Hulk, this guy was a force of nature. The gamma-powered synergy made him one of the scariest duelists in the game, but now, without his big green buddy, he's lost a lot of that raw damage output. Even teaming up with Hela hasn't brought him back to his former glory. He's still solid, but he's more like that guy who used to be awesome, rather than the menace he once was. Then we have Spider-Man, the king of cool, and the definition of high skill, low forgiveness. There's no denying that Spider-Man can absolutely delete someone in a second if played perfectly. His combos are slick, his movement is incredible, and pulling off those web sling kills is pure satisfaction. But, and this is a big but, his moves are really predictable once you've seen them a few times. Enemies can easily time their interrupts or counters, and suddenly, your stylish play turns into a sad little ragdoll moment. That said, Spider-Man can still shine if the map favors him. Give him a few ledges and watch him toss enemies straight to their doom like a pro wrestler. Or when his ultimate is ready, he can swing into fights and turn things around in an instant. The issue is, those moments are rare, and if you don't get them, you'll feel like you're just fighting uphill the whole time. All in all, these B-tier duelists are like the almost there crowd, the kids who get A's on every test but still can't beat the class valedictorian. They've got potential, and in the right hands, they can absolutely dominate a match. But in most cases, they're just missing that one piece that would push them into greatness. If you're confident in your mechanics and you enjoy characters that reward precision and timing, these are your guys. They're fun, they're stylish, and when you make them work, you'll feel like a genius. But if you want consistent wins without sweating bullets every fight, maybe stick to the A or S tier picks. So yeah, B tier duelists aren't bad. They're just moody. Sometimes they're your hero, sometimes they're the reason you lost the match. But hey, at least you'll look cool while trying. The duelists in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Daredevil, Hawkeye, Hela, Human Torch, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, Psylocke, Scarlet Witch, and Winter Soldier. You know when you're playing Marvel Rivals, and there's that one duelist who just barely misses being overpowered? Like, they're strong enough to make you feel like a god when things go right, but also humble you instantly when they don't. Yeah, welcome to the A tier, the land of almost perfect duelists. These heroes can absolutely carry games, but they've got just enough flaws to keep them from sitting at the top with the S tier royalty. Let's start with the newest kid on the block, Daredevil. Ever since he arrived in Season 4.5, players can't stop talking about him. He's surprisingly easy to play. In fact, a lot of people joke that his gameplay is just press buttons and hope for the best. And honestly, they're not entirely wrong. But here's the catch. It works. His passive ability lets him sense and track enemies, making him an absolute monster in one-on-one duels. If you're looking to win every solo fight you get into, Daredevil is your guy. The only downside? In team fights, he tends to lose a bit of that edge unless his ultimate is ready. That's when the real chaos begins. Next up, Hela, the Queen of Hell. And honestly, she still deserves her crown. Hela is one of those duelists who can dominate the entire match just by holding her ground and raining down consistent damage. Her hit scan attack feels unfairly smooth, and if you ignore her for even a second, she'll melt you faster than a popsicle in July. But her biggest weakness is that her ultimate is a little too easy to counter. Once enemies learn how to play around it, she loses that terrifying momentum. Still, even with that flaw, she's a rock-solid pick in the current meta. Then we've got Moon Knight, the man who somehow makes multiple personalities look like a power move. He's one of the easiest duelists to pick up, which makes him a great choice for players who want to jump straight into the action and deal some big damage. His area-based attacks absolutely shred enemies who cluster up, which happens a lot in lower ranks. But as you climb higher, people start spreading out, dodging, and avoiding his Ankh strikes entirely. Suddenly, that moonlight fades a bit, and he drops just short of top tier. Now Psylocke. Oh man, she's the definition of blink and you're gone. Her burst damage is insane, her movement feels buttery smooth, and her ultimate can still turn a fight upside down if timed right. She's fast, flashy, and surprisingly easy to learn, which makes her a favorite among both casual and competitive players. The only catch? She's not great when it comes to crowd control. Psylocke is a one-target assassin, not a group brawler. So if you're up against a coordinated team, you might find yourself deleting one player, and then immediately getting deleted yourself. Scarlet Witch, on the other hand, is that one hero who always looks terrifying on paper, until you realize she's kind of predictable. Her damage output is massive, no question there. She can absolutely melt enemies if left unchecked. But at higher levels, most players already know her patterns. Once they figure out when her abilities are coming, countering her becomes second nature. Luckily, she's got her ace in the hole, her synergy with Doctor Strange. That team-up combo elevates her from dangerous to terrifying, giving her just enough juice to stay comfortably in A tier. If you take a step back and look at the whole A tier lineup, one thing becomes clear. These duelists can dominate matches, but they need the right setup and a player who knows their limits. They reward confidence, timing, and awareness, but punish overconfidence hard. Think of them as the sports cars of Marvel rivals. Fast, stylish, and incredibly fun to drive, but not very forgiving if you crash. The cool thing about A-tier duelists is how versatile they are. You can plug most of them into different team comps, and they'll still perform well. They don't need perfect synergy, but when they do get it, their potential skyrockets. That's why they're so popular in ranked play. They strike the perfect balance between power and playability. However, what keeps them from reaching S tier is consistency. Every single one of these heroes has that one glaring weakness. Maybe a counterable ultimate, a limited range, or a predictable kit. It's not enough to make them bad, but it's just enough to stop them from feeling unstoppable. That said, if you're looking for duelists who feel satisfying to master and don't require insane micromanagement, A tier is your sweet spot. They're strong, they're flashy, and they'll absolutely carry if you know what you're doing. So next time you queue up, don't stress about always picking S tier. Grab one of these A tier legends, play smart, and you'll still make highlight plays. Maybe even make the S tier mains a little nervous. After all, being second best in Marvel rivals still means you're pretty damn dangerous. The duelists in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Black Panther, Magic, Phoenix, Star-Lord, the Punisher, and Wolverine. You know you've hit the big leagues when your name gets whispered in voice chat like a threat. That's what being S tier in Marvel rivals feels like. These duelists aren't just strong, they define the meta. They don't need perfect team compositions. They don't need lucky moments. They are the lucky moment. When one of these heroes shows up on the field, you can practically hear the enemy team groan in despair. Let's start with Black Panther because, come on, it's the king of Wakanda. This guy doesn't just fight, he hunts. A skilled Black Panther player can turn a simple flank into a full-blown massacre before the enemy even knows what happened. His combos flow so naturally that it almost feels unfair, and his mobility? Off the charts. Once he's in your backline, good luck getting him out. He's the kind of duelist who can 1 versus 3 and walk away like it was just cardio. Then we've got Magic, the queen of consistent dominance. Ever since launch, she's been that one duelist everyone hates fighting against. Her damage output is ridiculous, her mobility makes her unpredictable, and her built-in armor on hit means you can't just burst her down like a normal squishy. She doesn't even need her ultimate to delete you. Whether it's flying heroes, tanks, or supports hiding behind cover, Magic just doesn't care. She finds you, slices you, and keeps moving like nothing happened. Phoenix, on the other hand, is the definition of explosive power. Literally. Every shot she fires feels like a mini nuke. Her basic attacks already hit like a truck, but the splash damage on top of that? Yeah, she's a walking area of effect nightmare. Add in her great mobility, and she's got everything you could possibly want from a duelist. And her ultimate? Oh boy. It doesn't just hurt people. It deletes their utilities and setups, completely flipping the momentum of a fight. The best part is that she's not even that hard to use, which makes her an instant favorite for players who love melting enemies without overcomplicating things. Moving on to Star-Lord, the charming troublemaker of the group. He's fast, flashy, and incredibly deadly when played right. Star-Lord's high damage and movement speed let him dance around fights like he's in a rhythm game. But what really pushed him into S tier is his new team-up with Rocket. That synergy gives him better survivability and the freedom to dive deep into enemy lines, cause chaos, and zip out before anyone can catch him. And let's not forget his ultimate. It's one of the most game-changing abilities in Marvel rivals. Pop it at the right moment, and you can single-handedly flip an entire team fight. Now, the Punisher might not look as flashy as the others, but don't be fooled. He's pure, unfiltered destruction. His kit is refreshingly simple, which means there's almost no learning curve. Point, shoot, dominate. He consistently dishes out heavy damage, and his ultimate is absolutely brutal, capable of wiping out entire squads if timed correctly. There's something incredibly satisfying about his straightforward power. No fancy mechanics, just raw, punishing efficiency. When your team is struggling, swapping to Punisher can completely shift the momentum in your favor. And then there's Wolverine, the absolute monster of the duelist roster. There's a reason he's banned so often in competitive play. This guy is a nightmare for tanks, and anyone who thinks standing still is a good idea. Wolverine tears through heavy front lines like paper, and his self-healing and survivability make him feel borderline immortal in skilled hands. Once he's in the zone, it's over. He'll lunge, slash, and regenerate like it's nothing, leaving a trail of chaos behind him. What's terrifying about all these S-tier duelists is how independent they are. They don't rely on support heroes or complicated setups. Give them a target, and they'll handle the rest. That's what separates them from everyone else. They can carry games, not just participate in them. Another key thing, their mobility and survivability go hand in hand. It's not just about hitting hard, it's about staying alive while doing it. Whether it's Panther leaping around corners, Magic teleporting out of danger, or Star-Lord jetting through the air, these heroes all have that catch-me-if-you-can energy that makes them such a pain to deal with. But what really seals their spot in the S-tier is their impact. Every single one of these duelists can swing the outcome of a match with one good play. A perfectly timed ultimate from Phoenix, a clean flank from Panther, a surprise ambush from Wolverine. These moments don't just win fights, they win games. They're also incredibly rewarding to play. Every elimination feels earned, every escape feels cinematic, and every clutch moment feels like it should be in a highlight reel. That's why players love them. They make you feel powerful without being cheap. So yeah, the S-tier duelists are in a league of their own. They hit hard, move fast, survive everything, and look cool while doing it. If you see one on the enemy team, brace yourself. Because odds are, they're not just going to win the fight. They're going to make it look effortless. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.